Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to our top 10 countdown of the best cards in Return to Ravnica Standard. If you missed part 1 where we talked about the honorable mentions and numbers 10 through 6, there will be a link in the description and probably right next to me somewhere. Just like the first part, the same rules apply. The list only takes into account tournaments from the time Theros was printed until now, so about 11 months. Try to keep in mind that this list is about top finishes and impact on the format. There were plenty of great cards in Standard this past year, but these 5 were the staples of all staples. In 5th place, a card that I guarantee you thought would be higher is Jace, Architect of Thought. Everyone knew it had to be on this list somewhere. The value in mono blue devotion, blue-white control, and any other blue-based control deck is just too good to ignore. The reason it isn't higher is completely based on top finishes. For those of you who think it should be higher, I thought it'd be higher as well, but when you see the top 4, I think you'll understand. There have been 136 copies of the Architect in top 8 decks in the past 11 months. That's pretty good, but just to give you some perspective, the number 2 card on the list was in the top 8 202 times. Yeah, it's ridiculous. With 5 more copies in top 8s than Jace, Thoughtseize grabs our number 4 slot. 141 copies have been played since Theros' release. I shouldn't have to tell you that Thoughtseize is one of the strongest spells in all of Magic. It's a cornerstone in every strategy running black. Even in aggressive strategies, there are usually a couple Thoughtseize on sideboard at the very least. It protects against Supreme Verdict, Sphinx's Revelation, Mizia Mortars, and basically anything else you're afraid of. It's true that black would still be a strong color without Thoughtseize, but the card is just so good it impacts every game it's a part of. Number 3 goes to another black card, Hero's Downfall. In a format where it seems more and more inefficient removals being printed, Hero's Downfall is a breath of fresh air and a necessary staple. Destroying creatures at instant speed is valuable. Destroying planeswalkers at all is invaluable. A card that does either at instant speed for 1 color of mana is extremely powerful. Yes, it costs double black, but I don't see anyone complaining. Planeswalkers are more powerful and widely used now than they have been in years. Planeswalker removal spells are few and far between. The Downfall allows for black-based strategies to make up for not having Detention Sphere or Banishing Light. That's huge. Plus it helps that there were 158 copies of Downfall in top 8 since its printing, so yeah. With over 200 copies in top 8s over the past 11 months, Nightveil Specters are surprising number 2. I gotta say, I didn't expect this, but now that I've had time to think about it, it totally makes sense. It's the ultimate devotion machine for the 2 most popular strategies in the format throughout the last year. It's a playset in both decks and provides disturbing value if it isn't destroyed immediately. It helps turn on Thassa, Master of Waves, Grey Merchant, the list goes on talking about the Spectre's utility. While you may be underwhelmed, this card had 40 more copies in the top 8 than the next highest on this list. 3 mana for a 2/3 flyer with a relevant ability, and the mana was perfect for both successful devotion decks. The card was made for this format. Nightveil really is the perfect representation of what the last 11 months has been about, devotion. We finally made it. The best, most memorable, most impactful card in Standard is Mutavault. I disqualified the Shocklands and Temples because dual lands always see a ton of play. They're dual lands. But non-basics that aren't for mana, I'd consider those exceptions. Mutavault had 321 copies in top 8 since Theros released. The card's in every deck that can fit it, as many copies as possible, always. The card's just too good not to play. This is Thoughtseize all over again, except it's a colorless land so everyone can play it. Aggressive decks play it to get an extra body on the field, mid-range decks play it to keep something back on defense or protect from Devour Flesh, and control decks play it as a primary win condition. This is like Nephalia Drownyard and Creeping Tar Pit, but even better. Mutavault is far more versatile than either of those were. This is a format where there are a ton of big creatures, big removal, and powerful planeswalkers. Having a creature that is safe on your opponent's turn is a huge deal. Helps keep the walkers honest, stems early attacks, and can just win the long game. There's nothing more Mutavault can do. It's the perfect man land, and that's why it tops this list. Versatile, powerful, necessary. If that isn't what impactful is, then I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm done. Well, there you have it. Numbers 5 through 1. Are these what you expected? How mad are you? I expect some people to be very upset. Just try to remember that this was mostly a numbers game. Top finishes don't lie. While Blue-A Control has been doing well recently, the Devotion decks have been terrorizing Standard for almost a year. Just giving some perspective. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.